Shalom, shalom, Israel, coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying. First off, giving all praise, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah Chodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, and all the teachers out there pushing this word in truth with truth and sincerity. May you be the elect. Shalom to all the Akim and the Akwath out there listening and learning. You Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, who are the true children of Israel, as well as you speckled bird, Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that look like, act like, and take on the customs of all these heathen nations. So to you, I say shalom, and may you be the elect. This lesson is brought to you by the Spirit and the power of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the true name of our fathers, the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites. Baha Hashem meaning in the name, and Yahweh Shai being the only begotten Son of Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls by the name of JC. All right, and this is just a really short lesson, just kind of bringing it into the point. There's a short mini series, I guess you can say, on Netflix called 0 Day. All right, and it's got pretty much everything that the prophet's been speaking about. As far as economic crisis. Well, I got a list right here. It says as many have been, would be, will be scenarios with economic crisis, sedition, and near epidemic crash out in society worldwide for total world collapse. Because everything in this film, right, a lot of cyber attacks, right? And so when you have a lot of cyber attacks, you'll have, worldwide panic. You'll have worldwide logistical errors. A lot of troubleshooting will have to occur. Therefore, a lot of time will be delayed. Okay, so products may not hit shelves in time. You might have a bunch of perishables that may, expire, in time or past time before it even gets to the shelves. You got all kinds of problems. You got electrical problems, and so with all that, you're going to have a lot of panic. Because people want their money. They're going to try to pull their money out the banks. So therefore, when they go to banks, all the banks are going to be flooded with people trying to get their money out. You're going to have stores flooded for people trying to buy whatever product is left. And if they're not buying it, they're doing a 5-finger discount. All right, they're running out of the stores with products. All right, and before you know it, your storehouses are gonna seem empty. All right, and then you're gonna have eventually, in time, your martial law, which is slowly already being implemented. If you can't already tell, right? They don't deploy U.S. military troops in streets unless something's going to occur, and they set it up ahead of time so they can be ahead of the curve, if you will, right? So they can be abreast to everything that's going to happen and will happen, right? That's why you have some stores, when they know there's going to be some looting and rioting ahead of time. What do? They go to the Home Depot or fucking Lowe's or whatever, and buy their 2x4s and their fucking plywood boards and board the windows and the doors, so their place don't get crashed out, because they know what's going to occur. They know what's going to happen. Okay? Now, so I bring all this up to say this. The prophet's been, everything that's in this show, this 0 Day, everything that's in this show, the prophets have been talking about forever. Right? Telling you things that happened in the past, telling you the present things, and telling you things that's going to happen in the future. But you still don't listen. All right? You have no problem listening to your local news authorities. You have no problem listening to your first responders. All right? But you do have a problem with listening to the prophets. And that's going to be your downfall in the end. All right? Because the prophets are here for your betterment. Right? The prophets ain't here just to be all, doom and gloom, but that's our job. Our job is to warn, and that's exactly what we've been doing. All right? And this is specifically 0 Day, Season 1, Episode 4, and to get to the point of this particular lesson, it's the 26 mark all the way up to 27-minute and 25-second mark. All right, for anybody that's interested in the episode specifically that I'm speaking of, because all of them are showing everything that this lesson is about. But that one in particular, right, this particular phone call that the president was on, pretty much tells exactly, the epitome of this lesson, right? And this is Deuteronomy 18 and 22. It says, when a prophet speaketh in the name of Yahweh, right? So if you got somebody out there speaking in the name of Yahweh, there's before I finish reading, there's two things that can occur. The person that's preaching in the name of Yahweh is either for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai or they're an agent. And the reason why I say that, because there's a lot of agents out there that know the names, all right, but they'll tell you that the mark of the beast is, some type of embargo, or it's the white woman, or, it's anything but the micro C-hip, all right? So if they're not telling you, if they're not teaching about the microchip, if they're not teaching about World War III, they're not talking about the sedition among men that's going to occur. They're not talking about the prophets being subjugated or even persecuted, shall I say. If they're not talking about Jacob's trouble, which is fucking huge, right? Especially because we are pretty much in the midst of it. All right, if they're not talking about, hell, the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, all right, and they're not talking about salvation and the salvation belonging to specifically the Israelites, all right, they're false prophets. If they're teaching in the name of JC or any other names other than Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, they're false prophets. All right, so again, this is Deuteronomy 18 and 22. When a prophet speak in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahweh B'Shem Shai hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. Right? So if you got some people out there that's coming in the name of Yahweh B'Shem Shai, and they tell you this and tell you that, all right, but then none of these things occur, that's a false prophet. And he should be nobody of concern. All right? You'll know a true prophet, right? And y'all been seeing them this whole time, namely them of Great Millstone, but you don't want to accept that. You don't want to believe that. Because in your mind, a prophet looks like somebody that's coming straight out of the Bible from ancient biblical times. They can't look like somebody from today. No, not that. You see? But there's nothing new under the sun. It might be different garments, but the spirit of prophecy, right, is of the prophets. Right? The prophets are the only ones that have the spirit of prophecy. Right? Prophecy is subject to the prophets. Right? They're the only ones that know these secrets, these dark sayings, and our job is to tell the world. That's the only purpose of a prophet, to speak this truth. So if they're not speaking this truth, or they're telling you lies, telling you bullshit, well, I mean, it's common sense. All right? So yeah, if you're interested in the show, again, it's called 0 Day on Netflix. It's definitely worth watching. Along with the Book of Eli, The Road, San Andreas, 2012. Those are all good movies to give you a proper, or should I say, a good indication as to what's to occur, what's going to happen in the near future. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying, giving all praise, all honor, glories to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Rachah Chodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops, Great Millstone, and all the teachers out there pushing this word and truth. With truth and sincerity, may you be of the elect. Y'all better stay prayed up. Repent. Abba, Kwam Yasharallah. Shalom.